Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. So today we are doing again a CLPC number 11 of the 2022 session. Um, this is effectively going to be a parajumble solving session. I will try to give you my insight on this particular one. If you want, right now you can pause the video and try this out. I don't think this particular parajumble is going to be that easy, but then let's see. Okay, there is a solution palette also here. I mean, which basically is the solution given by the institute. I will show you after I'm done with my initial impressions or my insight. Okay, so let's go through this thing. I hope you have been pretty familiar with the idea that there are 4 sentences, 1, 2, 3, 4, and when properly sequenced, they form a coherent passage. We all know what a coherent passage has. And then we have to punch in the proper order. My idea, as I have always said, is that I always try to look out for logical ideas that I can link together. Some people like to call it using linkages, but if linkages work for you, great, but if ideas work for you, even better. So let's read and see. One thing I would like to say, that you may be you may have to read it multiple times. So it's not like once I can read and I'll get the entire gist, because you have to fit in ideas, so you might just have to read it more than once. Okay, and I'm telling you, it make host of difference. Now the Museo do Oriente, it marks Portugal's presence from 1500s in Goa, Japan, Macau and Timor. The bright shock of riverside sun gives way to dark galleries inside. Dark galleries inside. Okay, interesting. In climate control vitrines, or whatever this is. Okay, I really don't care. In climate control, let's say XYZ is a bronze Virgin Mary from Mughal India. Okay, so this is in a climate control vitrines. I stand outside a dried salt code warehouse from the 1940s. Now, one thing that you would realize, if you are familiar with the solution process and how we solve problems in general, you will realize that rather 4 has to be the starter, as I like to call it, the starting or the opening statement. Now, when I start with 4, I stand outside a dried salt code warehouse from 40s. The next thing is I need to give some sort of an information on the dried salt code warehouse. So naturally, my mind will go to this thing. The bright shock of riverside sun gives way to dark galleries inside. In a climate controlled vitrines is a bronze Virgin Mary from Mughal India. One thing is for sure, that if between 2 and 3, but I'm just using some, you can say, trial and error. At this point, I'm just using trial and error. One thing that I can do with trial and error, or one thing that I can come at trial and error, is that 3 has to follow 2. Okay, you can debate over it कि सर can अभी ऐसे कैसे आप देख करके बोल देते हो कि 3 can follow 2. You answer this question, can 3 follow 4? So 3 is saying in climate control vitrines is a bronze Virgin Mary from Mughal India, straight up after 4. So I stand outside dried salt code warehouse from the 40s in a climate control this thing, Virgin Mary from Mughal India. So after 4, if you put 3, there is no logical link, or the idea transference is not that clear. So one thing that I can say for sure is it could be 4. Just a second. So it could be 4, and then it could be 2, and then it could be 3. Just now I just mentioned that 3 has to follow 2. 3 has to follow 2, right? Let me again read this. Please pay attention. This is important. I stand outside a dried salt code warehouse from the 40s. The bright shock of riverside sun give way to dark galleries inside. So dark galleries inside is definitely talking about this warehouse only. Okay. So that ways you can say 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 3, and then possibly 1. Okay. Hold on. 4, 2, 3, 1. but now I have to check whether one qualifies as a concluding statement, and if one qualifies, then possibly this is the sequence that I will follow. Otherwise, the sequence is illogical. Okay. Now the Museo de Oriente, it marks Portugal's presence from 1500s in Goa, Japan, Macau and Timor. If you see, in a climate controlled vitrines is a bronze Virgin Mary from Mughal India, and then cut to, we are talking about some Museo de Oriente. It marks the Portugal presence in this and this. You would, if you pay attention, 3 and 1 does not follow any logical link. So basically 1 is not following 3. 1 is describing a place, or 1 is talking about a place. 3 is more to do with, Virgin Mary from Mughal India. Now you can say ki sir, agar 1 is not my concluding statement, and 1 can definitely be not the, this thing, the starter. So can I not place 1 between 4 and 2, 3? So what I'm trying to say is, so can I do 4, 1, 2, 3? And there is one more possibility. There is one more possibility, and that possibility is 4, 2, 1, 3. Okay, now you have to go through those possibilities in your mind. And the point that I'm trying to make is, anybody who tells you कि बेटा आइडियाज देख लो, ऐसे समझ लो, आइडियाज को लॉजिकली लिंक कर दो, आई एम टेलिंग यू तुम्हारे पास इतना टाइम नहीं होता. मैं तो फिर भी 6 मिनट 7 मिनट 8 मिनट दे रहा हूँ आपको समझाने के लिए. आई एम टॉकिंग सो मच. यू डोंट हैव दैट मच टाइम. यू ओनली हैव 2 minutes. सो यू वुड हैव टू मेक ऑल द परम्यूटेशन एंड कॉम्बिनेशंस. यू वुड हैव टू बी क्लियर कि ओके, is 1 following with 4, is 1 following with 2. Let's see. Between 2 and 3, the bright shock of Riverside Sun, give ways to Riverside Sun, give way to dark galleries inside. Now the Museo de Oriente marks Portugal's present in this. In a climate control vitrinaries is a bronze Virgin Mary from Mughal India. So straight away from 2 we can go to 3, because in the dark galleries there is a Virgin Mary from Mughal India. So that makes sense. So 2, 3 definitely makes sense. But between 2 and 3, if I just plug in 1, it just makes no sense. So there is no logical linkage, or you can say there is no logical transference or coherence. Not transference, logical coherence in this manner. But what about this one? Now, if you have understood so far, I am pretty sure you have the answer. Okay, pause the video right now and try to come up with your own answer. See, the first one, I stand outside a dried salt code warehouse of the 1940s. That's it. Now they are maybe explaining the dried salt cod warehouse in the first statement that said, now the Museo do Oriente, it marks Portugal's presence from the 1500s in Goa, Japan, Macau and Timor. The bright shock of, and then explaining this Museo de Oriente in the second statement. The second statement says the bright shock of Riverside Sun gives way to dark galleries inside. In a climate control vitrines is a bronze Virgin Mary from Mughal India. So if you pay attention, this is the best sequence for this particular one. Okay, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now I will eliminate everything and I will show you the solution that these guys have given. Okay, I hope you can see this clearly now. You can pause the video right now and read it if you have to. I'm assuming that you have paused and read. So yeah, so this is again 4, 1, 2, 3. This is exactly the one that we arrived. It in the statement 1 referred to the dried salt cod warehouse mentioned in this thing. So that is the thing, right? They are explaining where can I put option number 1 or other statement 1. So when they say that it in statement 1 refer to the dried salt cod warehouse mentioned in 4, that basically is this Museo de Oriente. So in other words, 1 should follow 4. Inside is a preposition with regard to Museo de Oriente, therefore statement 2 will follow 1. Statement 2 will follow 1 and all that preposition nonsense, I don't know. Statement 3 further describes what is there inside the Museo de Oriente. So basically again, what they're effectively saying at this point is that 1 and 2 is a logical link and 4 and 1 follow. So basically if you club them together, you get 4, 1, 2 and then obviously 3 as my concluding statement that in a controlled this thing. Now again, I think describes inside and muso the oriente. If you are happy with the solution, if you're if you like the solution, how the solution has explained, kudos, go with it. But I have given you my analysis. Whichever you want to pick, you can pick. From the next video onwards, I'm not going to show you the solutions, because it does not really necessarily mean anything to me to go with the solution. Sometimes even the the sequence that the solution is showing, I may not be able to 100% gel up with it. So from the next video onward, I'm not going to show you the solutions, but just for the sake of clarity, I showed you the solution in this one. Thank you.